So you're selling your house and you find out you have an offer. Should you sign on the bottom line or tell them to keep on walking? Stay tuned for my answer. Hello, I'm Veronica Woods from Daniel Woods Real Estate Company, and I'm back for another Real Estate Wisdom blog video. As you may know, if you watch these videos, I publish a new video roughly every week, and it's always on a topic related to general home ownership, buying, selling, or even investing. Wherever you're watching this video, if you have a comment or question about today's topic, I invite you to go ahead and leave a comment below wherever you're watching. I promise I'll catch back up with that comment and give you my best response. Now on to today's video, where I'll be talking about how to evaluate the offer you have in hand if indeed you want to sell. Now these rules or questions will apply whether you're living in the property or the property is vacant. I know first and foremost, if you're a homeowner or property owner and you have felt like the time is to sell, you want to be able to walk away with the most money in your pocket as well as the least amount of stress. So now let's jump into 5 questions you should ask yourself as you're evaluating those offers in hand. The first question you should ask is, how does the offer price compare to the market? Now when I sit down for seller, I try to get them to understand the possible range or likely price range that their house would sell for, and this is based on data. So we're looking at the recently sold homes as well as the other active homes on the market. Now if you get an offer that's below this range, you can call that low, as well as anything below your asking price could be low for you. And in both cases, you should be thinking counter first, not outright rejection. Now, if they offer you your asking price, you should be leaning toward accept, but you still should look at the other parts of the offer. And we'll get into that more with the other questions. But one last point, if the house has been on the market for a while and this offer comes in and all the offers are on the low end, that should really get you to maybe revisit what the asking price should be, because again, the market has spoken. And I always like to remind folks that I don't select your offer price and you don't either. Really, the market really dictates what you can get for your home. The second question you should ask is, how strong is the buyer? And when we're in uncertain financial times, when mortgage requirements are changing, this becomes even more important, because a deal can fall through even if you agree on all the terms if the buyer's financial funding becomes shaky. So you want to ask questions around how much earnest money can they possibly put down. If you see 1,000, can they put down 5,000 or more? Are they asking for seller's assistance? Are they pre-qualified, or did they go the next step to actually get pre-approved for a mortgage? Now, if they're talking about a cash purchase, you want to make sure you're looking at a current proof of funds. So let's say it's an investor who promises to pay cash, no mortgage contingency. You want to make sure, especially if the deal doesn't close quickly, that they don't have the opportunity to use that cash for another deal or another project. So that's why you'll want to make sure that you're looking at their current financial statement. Now the third question is, you have to look at the number and type of contingency that the offer includes. For a contingency like an inspection contingency, that's very common, that people keep in a contract. If the buyer sees something that they don't like or discovers something with the home inspector, they can walk away with their earnest deposit, money deposit, with no consequence. So that really leaves you vulnerable as a seller. So you want to think about if you should continue to market your property during some contingencies so that you don't lose time if a deal falls through and lose out on the opportunity to attract a new buyer who is willing to go through with the sale. Now, this is something that you should talk to your agent about early in the process so that you know how to plan. And I actually have another video where I walk through a number of the top contingencies, more for the buyer's point of view, but it's good to understand as a seller the options that a buyer has as far as contingencies in their offer. Fourth, are there other terms and conditions that may have financial consequence for you? So let's start at the closing date. Does that work for you? Will you have to put your items and boxes in storage and look for another place to live in the interim, or is that cool with you? Another thing to consider is, what are the expectations around repairs? Now, if the buyer straight out tells you that they acknowledge that you as the seller won't do any repairs, that's great. However, if your buyer is a first-time home buyer, and let's say they're cash strapped, you can pretty much be sure that they're going to look for an opportunity on the home inspection to come up with some repairs for you to do. Of course, it's a negotiation, but this will likely come up. And if the bank appraiser goes in and finds things that will be required to be repaired before a mortgage commitment, you could pretty much predict that you're going to have some additional expenses. And some of that comes down to kind of having an assessment of what your property is like, and if you have any repairs that you know are on your to-do list that will likely also make the cut with the bank appraiser. Now, the fifth and last question that I'll cover on this video is, what are the opportunity costs of a delay in the sale? Opportunity costs could be, how many months of additional mortgage payments do you have to make? Insurance payments, maintenance costs. Maybe it's a big maintenance cost that comes up depending on the timing. So you really have to also factor in, what about the delay in getting the proceeds and moving on to the next project? Maybe it's a new house. Maybe it's paying off some other financial obligation. Whatever it is, the delay does have kind of a domino effect in your financial outlook. Now, it's important to think about, if you quantify this delay or hard cost of, let's say, a $5,000 opportunity cost of not selling your home right now, would you be willing to compromise in the asking price to not have to incur that hard cost? These are things that you'll have to think about. Now, just in summary, you can see from the nature of the questions and the answers that we talked about, you really have to look at the full financial picture, the full offer, in order for you to make a smart financial decision. And a good realtor can help you put that picture together. Thanks again for watching another Real Estate Wisdom video. I'm Veronica Woods from Daniel Woods Real Estate Company. If you enjoyed this video, please share it with a friend. I want to get out there to the community further. I don't want to be a secret. And if you have suggestions about future video topics, you can also leave that information in the comments below this video. If you connect with me on social media, you'll see when my next video is published. And as always, I'm looking for new content and topics to help you keep more money in your pocket when you're buying and selling real estate.